All right. Welcome, everyone. Give a few minutes for everybody to jump in here. I should have prepared some music. What would be your intro song if you had one, Alex?
My intro song.
Yeah.
Um, I've gotten my 7-year-old into Yellow Card.
Okay.
I used to listen to a lot of Yellow Card when I was in high school, and so that's top of mind. He picked it as his walk-up song, and so you can just imagine dear old dad being like, "What? You picked a Yellow Card song?" Like my pop punk days. So I'd pick a Yellow Card song today.
Yeah, okay.
What
All
about
right.
you?
I don't know. There was a big Bruce Springsteen concert at Barclays Center, so I've been listening to some old Bruce Springsteen. So
Nice,
maybe some E Street Band.
nice. Well, what's the? Let's I don't know. Can we put that in the chat?
All right.
What's your walk-up song right now, friends? Um, or top of mind song that you've been listening to or thinking about? Um, I just watched SNL with Will Ferrell and Paul McCartney, and Will Ferrell named a bunch of songs. He's like, "What have you done? Just right." And he named probably half the Beatles catalog, and I was like, you know what? I should listen to some Beatles lately. I haven't done it yet, but there's always later today.
Absolutely.
All right, we have some shy folks that want to put their walk-up songs in there. That's okay. Hey Aaron, how are you? It's good to see a friendly name in there.
All right. Anybody got any
Uh,
walk-up songs? Maybe, and also if you want, put your where you're from in the chat. Um,
there we go. I'll start off the where we're from. We've got the exact. So we've got the each coast. Is
we
there
got the
anybody
coastline.
anything anywhere else in the middle? Or is everyone just focused? They're like, yeah, I'm working on the side and I want to hear about AEO.
That'll work.
That's
That'll
what we
work
got.
too. We promise we won't keep you too long. I think we'll be action packed here and get in, get out. That's always my motto. All right. Give it
Well, let's
about
rock and roll then.
yeah. Let's get it started. So, I'm gonna go ahead and share here. And I promise we won't, this won't be
Oh, Juan, the chat is disabled.
it's
I'm seeing people post in the Q&A that the chat is disabled.
uh,
So, that's why we're not getting any responses. It's just not because people don't like us or they don't want to talk. Uh,
oh, that's
so
funny.
sorry about that, people.
All
Oh.
right. So we'll be a little unorthodox. Feel free to use the Q&A if you want. All right. We I guess we're starting here at the end. SEO is dead. What do you think, Alex? Is SEO dead?
I did not mean to raise my hand, but um, I think it's on its way. I don't think it's. I think it took GeoCities and like AOL dial-up a
Ooh,
long time to die, even though there's that ship had sailed. So I think SEO will still be around, but I think its relevance is fastly going away. Um,
you've got mail. You've
yeah,
got mail.
yeah, yeah,
You've got mail.
yes.
I think SEO is not what it used to be, essentially, and that's what we're here to discuss is how SEO is what is the new SEO essentially, and how to win in the age of AI. So some quick introductions. My good friend Alex here, he's actually my PDM, also, my partner development manager, my my yogi, if you will. Um, and a good friend. Alex and I have worked together now. I guess this is about 3 years, and
Yeah,
you've really become a mentor to me, so I really appreciate it. Alex is from, as we mentioned, the opposite coast, San Diego, California. And congratulations on your HubSpot President's Club membership, 2025. Much,
thank
much
you.
deserved. I hope that we were a small part of that. Uh,
A
um,
big part of it, Juan. You were a big part of it.
well, we work well together, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to working, more with you in the future. One of the unique things about Alex, and one of the important things, is he's also an exited co-founder of a Platinum Solutions partner. It gives them a different perspective, and to be quite honest with you, helps me as an agency owner have an understanding of what the landscape is. So he sees it from both sides of the coin. We both share an interest in baseball, and he's also a soccer fan and craft beer enthusiast. And one of my favorite fun facts of all time, one of my favorite shows of all time, Deadliest Catch. Alex is a former associate producer of season 5 of Deadliest Catch.
Since
If you ever
five.
seen that show, it is actually, Alex, I don't know if you know this, but it actually pumps me up. Watching, I turn it on Friday night and it gets me going, you know.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad like a year and a half of my time can get you pumped up. Um,
Where
yeah.
did you ever get seasick?
That's why I was not the associate producer on season 6 of Deadly Sketch.
Seasickness. Gotcha.
Yeah, I definitely turns out I do get seasick in rough seas.
Oh, I don't think I could ever do that job, to be honest with you. So, God bless you. Um, and me, I am a proud Brooklynite, born and raised with some stops in the DC area, the DMV, as well as West Virginia. I am thanks to Alex, HubSpot Platinum Solutions partner, um, and certified in pretty much everything HubSpot. So not only am I an agency owner, I love HubSpot. Um, Marketing, sales, service, commerce, the whole gamut is my bag. And our team is super proud of all of the things that we not only do for our clients but also learn. Um, like Alex, I'm a baseball fan, New York Mets. For a long time, I think this is actually a San Diego and the Mets were the only two teams that did not have a no-hitter. I think for a long time. But that's changed. So I am now a distance runner and just finished one of a marathon in Southern California. And fun fact, I have never ordered an Uber.
Really?
I've never ordered an Uber.
A lift? Like you use Lyft? Like are you
Never
just like
ordered
being
one.
semantics?
No, just never ordered one.
You just call a cab.
I've been in a taxi cab, but I just never have ordered.
That's the most New
I
York
don't
thing
even
I think I've
have the
ever
I don't
heard.
even have the app downloaded. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that about you.
Um, So we'll get into it. What are we going to cover today? The death of traditional SEO. What is AEO? Um, the AEO playbook. We're actually going to jump into HubSpot's AEO tools and do a live demo. So we're not just going to talk about it, you can see it. And then kind of the next steps, owning the answer and driving the lead. But, how do you take what we're discussing here? We're all about learning. We like to say that we're not know-it-alls, but we're learn-it-alls. So we want to teach you how to use these tools and take it to the next level. So let's talk about where we are and where the game, how the search game has changed overnight. Everyone, whether you've not ordered an Uber, I'm sure has done a Google search. And the way in which we search is a lot different than it was 2, 3, even 4 years ago. 60% or more of Google searches now end in 0 clicks. Why? Because we get the AEO or the AI answers right in our Google searches. As a result, 47% or higher of queries trigger an AI overview response. And I'll show you what that looks like. You've probably seen it or familiar with it, whether it's on desktop or mobile, which means that an AI overview now ranks in the 0 position or above even your sponsored post or any of the search rankings that you used to fight for, if you were.
There's one other data I think I forgot to tell you about on this one is the
Sure.
60% is when there is no AI overview search, 83% when there is.
Wow.
So even less. Um, and also,
It's
since we don't
crazy.
have the chat, if you have questions, throw them into the Q&A and we'll get to them either throughout or at the end.
Absolutely. So you ranked number one on Google. Congrats. No one saw it. And I'm going to show you why no one saw it. So here is a search, an actual search. What is AEO? It's giving you an AI overview of what a answer engine optimization AEO is, right? Gives you a detailed, it actually clips so you can hit show more. But even without it clipping, we don't see any search rankings without scrolling. And as a matter of fact, you might not even see your paid sponsored results. So this is kind of it's underlining, double tapping the importance of that AI overview on search results. And this is obviously in Google, but other search engines, same thing. So all about measuring results, right? And measuring success in a 0 click world used to be all about organic traffic volume. And I will be the first person to say we were all in on inbound and talking about organic traffic through blog posts and things like that. Not saying that that's not important. However, it is yesterday's metrics. So keyword rankings, number one, number two, number three, being on the first page is less important than it is today. CTR, click-through rates. In a 0 click world, obviously click-through rates are not super important. And obviously page views and bounce rates, I can be very successful and nobody ever come to my site if I'm answering the questions. And we'll talk about that in a second. And it used to be people were fighting for backlinks, right? 10 years ago, those hyperlink blue links was what everyone was looking for. Linking to higher search authority sites is not as important or not is not as important in today's day and age. But today or tomorrow's metrics, we'll talk a little bit about share of model percentage, super important. Brand citation frequency, you may not have heard of that, but we'll talk about that. Your prompt coverage rate, citation to lead conversion, and AI search visibility score. These are probably 2, 3 years ago, these metrics didn't even exist. AI has made them increasingly more important, and it's not only important that you know what they are, but you're measuring them on presumably your HubSpot dashboard. So what killed traditional SEO? Obviously, the AI native search, we just looked at it. ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google's AI overviews, and now even Claude, they synthesize the answers. So what do we mean by that? Essentially, it's taking an aggregate of what the answer is to the question that you're asking and providing that to the customer in real language. So it's creating a brand new buyer journey. It used to be we were searching things and we had to actually look for the right answer. AI is just feeding us that answer based on the question that we're asking or the question that it thinks that we're asking. LLMs, large language models. These are, basically your advanced systems that are trained to take what you're entering in your prompt and translate that into a real language answer to the question that you're asking. It's trained to understand, summarize, and translate, and speak like a real human in the form of text, and soon in the form of audio as well. Zero click searches. Buyers get answers to questions without even visiting websites. So it's surfacing those answers right there on in the search results, uh, making the click through, if you will, not necessary anymore. So traffic metrics are no longer the only source of success as it relates to ranking. So the new standard for digital visibility, AEO. What does it stand for? Answer Engine Optimization. There's some others out there, but for today we're going to talk about AEO. AEO means optimizing your content for your digital presence, right? Um, and making sure that you're surfacing authoritative answers in all of the AI models. So what does that look like? The goal of this is really to own the answer to the questions that your ICP and the personas at those ICPs are asking. So, from a business standpoint, what does that look like in terms of the common or frequently asked questions? We always hear about facts. These are going to be super, super important as we shift into an AI centered world. So, what does that shift look like? Well, previously, the goal of SEO again was to rank on page one, and usually to rank number one, two, or three. Now answering the question and being cited as a source of that answer is infinitely more important. Again, your success metrics, click-throughs are really devalued in 2026, and instead we're looking at share of model. So what does that entail? Optimizing for keywords used to be the number one thing we used to do. And I used to even train my clients to look at, instead of ranking for keywords, but looking for longer tail keywords. That's no longer as important. It's kind of devalued, and we're looking at entities and topical authority. Now, I will put a pin in this because topical authority is something that Inbound talks about a lot. So if you're subscribing to the Inbound methodology, creating topic clusters, you've prepared yourself, not knowingly, for the shift between SEO and AEO world. Previously, blog posts, keyword stuff pages, um, you know, optimizing your website pages was super, super important as it relates to the keywords that were within the text. Now it's about schema rich, FAQs first, structured data within your not only within your pages, but also other industry pages as well. So search engine results no longer important. AI assisted and AI overviews like we looked at with Google are super, super important, so that your clients, your would-be clients, will be able to find you. All right, before we hand it off, four concepts that drive AEO success. Number one, entities. What does that mean? These are the people, places, and things and concepts that AI models recognize. Um, that can be everything from your keywords what used to be your keywords. These are now the entities that AI is looking at. Your topical authority. This is super, super important. The more you are a expert or authority in your space, the stronger you are going to be raised as the authority for answers. AI cites the most, and it's not just about authority. And I use the word authority, and it used to be about page authority. It's about voice authority. So if you're the expert voice in your field, AI knows that it's going to use your answers as the answers that it will cite in its summaries, because it sees you as a trusted source based on the topic clusters that you're creating and content that you're creating. Share of model will talk more about this, and we're actually going to offer you a share of model audit. So anybody who's looking to measure this for your own, we're going to offer a free share of model audit. This is basically an AI generated metric. It's actually AI generated where we determine what share it used to be called share of voice, right? Now we're calling it share of model. Share of model is basically what percentage of the audience do you have authority in, right? How what technically what cat in your category, what percentage mentions your brand? And then obviously we've been talking about this, the zero click environment. Success equals citations, not click-throughs. Success, is going to be about how frequently, how your audience, your ICP, those personas are searching for content and finding you as the answer to that, to the questions that they're asking. So what does that pivot look like? The pivot from keywords to entities. This is basically the playbook, which we're going to talk about is mapping your entities, right? So to start with, one of the things that we'll talk about is things like, for instance, your Google profile, right? Your business profile. Many people don't actually pay attention to it. I know other agencies don't pay attention to it, but if that data or that information is wrong, you need to audit that information, and it needs to be consistent across all of the most common platforms, whether it's Google, maybe you have an industry platform. It doesn't matter. All of the data, your hours, your pricing, all of it must be normalized and consistent. Building topic clusters. If you subscribe to Inbound, you probably have done a little bit of this work. It's a good idea to audit this anyway. Even if you think you've done it before, now is the time to look at your topic clusters. Look and make sure that these are still relevant to the audience today, the audience that you're going after. I recommend that you start from scratch and review those topic clusters and the spokes from those topic clusters, meaning what is the core topic and then what is the supporting topics that you would like to rank for. And then answer questions. What does this mean? And I tell all of my clients this all the time. What are the top 10 questions that each and every one of your clients ask you in discovery? Everyone knows them. Write them down, write the answers to those questions, and answer those questions in your content on your site, and anywhere where you would like to be listed. I don't know if you have anything on that, Alex.
No, I mean, I think you covered it. We do also have a question. I think you answered it in your step one here, but can you clarify more about the entity mapping and how we can successfully do that with the content on our site?
Yep. So it's a good question. So again, there are some really important places where people will always go to find us. The number one place obviously is going to be Google, right? So I would absolutely start with your Google profile. Yelp is another one. But don't discount things like Bing, Yahoo. Make sure your listings on all of these, even like what's that old MapQuest? It still exists, right? You want to be able to look at all of those platforms and make sure your data, all of your phone numbers, your hours, all of that information is consistent. Your descriptions are consistent across the board. What that's going to do is it's going to raise your authority because it's not the search engines are going to know, the AI is going to know that this is actually the data that we should be using. If there's contradictory data, oftentimes it devalues that authority that you have because it doesn't know which one to surface is the right answer to the question.
We got another one. Is there a difference of how you prep for the various like answer engines like Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity? I mean, I might be able to answer that in the demo, but
Sure.
I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
So the obviously there's differences, there's slight differences in the algorithms. But I think the best practice here is consistency, because ultimately you don't know where your buyer or potential buyer is going to be searching for the answer to the question that you're answering, right? The best practice here is consistency. So I think when, especially when you're mapping your entities and auditing your data, is creating one unified content source and making sure that you're using those different platforms to broadcast that content.
Great.
Mhm. So structuring your content for AI, right? So these are probably going to be your four next steps. Schema markup. So what we want to do is add FAQs. We just talked about this. How-tos, articles, organizational schemas. What do we mean by that? Is answering the questions before they ask them, basically. And that actually helps you in it from a sales perspective as well. If I'm able to have like a frequently asked questions during in your sales process, you can actually leverage that in the sales process as a link to something on your website or even another site where it's listed, right? Direct answers first. Always put the answers that the answers to the question that people are asking most frequently. You want to obviously rank them in order. Um, AI currently doesn't do a great job of getting to the bottom of the page, as we've seen. So it's important to prioritize by ranking those FAQs first, and then this is important: citing your sources. Similar to what we used to do in college. Remember, you used to have footnotes, and we got to go back to that. Make sure that you're citing your where you're getting your data. So if you're using things like metrics or data, where did it come from? AI definitely likes that. It favors content that shows that you've researched and you thought about this, but also that you've tapped into other thought leaders in your space. And then again, consistency, right? You want to maintain that consistency across, again, your Google profile, LinkedIn, G2, even your industry profiles, right? So if you're in, um, um, a specific space and there's some industry specific websites, you want to make sure that content is consistent there as well. All right, so next we're going to jump into the HubSpot AEO tool, and just we're going to do a live demo.
All right. You're all in trouble now. I've got control. I've got control of the deck. I've got control of the computer. So for anybody here that has HubSpot Marketing Pro or Enterprise, you already have this. This is already part of your subscription. If you don't see it here in your marketing tools on AEO, you might have to go opt into the public beta down here in the product updates. I'm not going to go through that, but if you already have this, you should you play around with it. You should already have entered in some information. If not, set it up after this call, as it does take about 10 minutes or so to set up. For those of you that don't have HubSpot, enjoy. I feel like maybe this was just my perception and my lack of being in this space as much, forefront as an agency as I was. But I felt like the how did ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude give an answer was a little bit of a black box. It was probably pulling website information. It was probably pulling some other people's content. And that's kind of what I thought. It was like pulling the internet and like aggregating what most people said about something. And as we've learned, that's not necessarily the whole truth. And really what it's pulling is not just your, about 5 to 10% of your website, and the rest is third-party sites or articles or references. So, I think pillar content is back but it has to be created in a way that's answering questions and prompts. It's a different way of approaching it while also creating value for buyers in the buyer's journey. It's still very important, but how it's happened has changed. So I've got this demo here. This is our AEO tools. Um, I think one person on this call knows I like Subarus, but I like the car Subaru. So this is my example. I've picked Subaru and their competitors as my example here. So when you load up the tool and you set up your competitors and the AI does the research on the web and scrapes all the data, it essentially creates this overview. So first we have our brand visibility. This is the percentage that your brand is showing up in answer engine optimization, AI search. Here's how it kind of ranks. Right now, HubSpot only has ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. I would really expect expansion to Claude and new tools as they appear, because that's the full picture. As this tool is being developed, ChatGPT was the number one, and then Claude skyrocketed past it, and we don't have it in here yet, but I'm sure we will. But I think someone asked, how do we map for each one? You can kind of get an idea of how they map. These lines there's some spikes. I only have a couple days of data, which isn't enough to really give a trend, but you can see how ChatGPT, how we rank, how Super ranks, how you are in Perplexity, and Gemini for some reason dropped today. Who knows why? Again, 3 days is not enough to really give that idea. The other thing we have is like what we call the sentiment analysis. So this is what people think. Like this is what people and the AI, the engines think. And you can see it's a 62. Like they are favorable to Subaru. And of course, why wouldn't they? It's Subaru. They make great off-road, all-terrain vehicles that are also good for families and your dogs. So why would you not like Subaru? But you can kind of see how it is in the same chats there. We also look at competitors, right? It's very important that you have competitors. If you don't really know who your competitors are, honestly, use Claude, HubSpot. There's various ways you can figure out who your competitors are. In this case, it's very easy. Honda, Toyota, Mazda, Nissan. You can see how we rank against our competitors. Honda's good, Subaru's good, Toyota's good. Everybody else is not doing as well. You can also let's go back up to our brand visibility, and same thing. We can see how our competitors are doing with the competitive landscape. The key here is the citation analysis. So Juan mentioned citations is one of the key factors that these answer engines are reviewing. And you can see for here, YouTube videos, YouTube comments, car and driver, obviously car related things. But as I go over here, there's one I want to call out, which is Reddit. I think there's been a lot of marketers that have utilized Reddit or Quora, like the answer, chat or answer kind of website, is those are becoming bigger and bigger factors of how your brand and how you are answering and talking about your brand there, as those are big answers. You can see here, this is like where the citations are by earned, peer review, are they competitor, are they owned, are they affiliate? You can also see citations from brands mentioned, out there. Again, I apologize. I only have 3 days of data. It only starts tracking from the moment you set this up. So it won't pull historical data. You can also filter all of this by date,
By
by
dates.
what engine. What was that one?
No, I was.
Oh, got it. You can build groups. You can build based on your product services, based on your ICP, location, buyer's journey, and then there's more filters you can load in there with custom filters as well. Prompts. So we all kind of figure out our AI service, our AI tools look at the competitors, look at you, and we give recommendations of prompts. All pro customers can track up to 25 prompts. All enterprise customers can track up to 50 prompts. And so all these prompts are going to be based on the various tools or various services you offer. So again, I'm a Subaru guy, so which all-wheel drive crossover SUV suits young all-outdoor drivers best? Great, Subaru is targeting younger generation of drivers. They want to get more people to buy their cars. So they're doing pretty great, 88%. So if we scroll down, we can do a preview of each tool. So let's look at ChatGPT. 3 out of 3 times ChatGPT is mentioning Subaru. Great. We love ChatGPT for that. And we kind of see like, okay, great. Their number one pick, Subaru Crosstrek. The number two pick is another Subaru. So you can kind of see like a preview of what each engine is going to say about you based on what we know about how they run. So we can see again, their Perplexity's 3 out of 3, Gemini 2 out of 3. We can also oh, there's no preview for this one. Oh, got it, because it needs to be in each run. So run number two, because also these engines give different answers every time they spit something out. So this is not a guarantee of exactly how it looks, but you can kind of see what it's going to start to look like. If we go to a prompt that maybe we're not tracking so well, so why do outdoor drivers struggle to choose a crossover SUV? That's a very specific question. So we could figure out what kind of content is needed for that if this is something we want to be into. So this is more of like why people struggle, not so much of like a deal with Subaru. So once we've got these prompts, I'm not going to go through everyone. You can again, you can rank, you can filter them, uh, same information there. We go to citations. This looks at a deeper look into those citations. Who's like the referring sites, or like how are the answers being created? And again, they go into deeper of like what type of content, and again, what channels are they coming from? The last piece of the HubSpot tool that I think is the most important is great. I realize we're doing bad in this prompt. We're only 22% on midsize. We want to improve that midsize. How do we do that? Well, the HubSpot tool tells you. It gives recommendations of how you can solve these problems. We can view them based on recommendation type. Um, let's look at social media amplification. Great. We should be posting more videos. But you know what? I mentioned Reddit. Um, Add a comment to let's talk ski trip vehicles. What kind of comment? Here's the keywords. The next version of this tool creates the content for you. You go post it. We have a beta Reddit, um, public beta Reddit monitoring and posting in the product update. So check that out. But it also gives you a reason. So why are we doing this? Well, our recommendation is based on analysis of Reddit's threads cited in AI generated responses. You should be posting in here, and here's the link. Right? Here's like the actual link you should be going to do that. And so not only is it telling you what you should, where you stand, but it gives you reasons of what types of content you should post and get it out there. You'll notice this status. I'll click on this sedan versus crossover. You notice the status. So like a lot of the times with SEO, it takes a long time for that task to get completed. Well, we can say, okay, we need to post on this. Great. It's in progress. So now I can mark that in progress. I could even view statuses of what do I have in progress and what's completed. What do I have to complete? You can assign these to specific people in your database to assign those tasks. I could, for example, click this one, and this is again my demo portal, so it's assign it to me. Oh, whoops, I didn't assign it to me. I need to go in here and do it. Well, I won't bore you with that detail, but you can see it's in progress. Oh, there's the assigning I need to do. You can do that over. It's got recommendations of your own content you should create. It's got recommendations for social. It's got recommendations. So as we kind of said, backlinks maybe are dead, but the importance of having valuable associations and citations are not dead. I think like getting mass links are dead, but getting the right links are good, are still in. So getting Subaru featured on Car and Driver's best crossover SUV rankings. Now that's like a very hard thing to do, right? Get into Car and Driver and go change that, but it could be very based on your industry and setup. And so as over time you complete these recommendations, you'll start to see your score fluctuate, right? Is it improving? Is the work we're doing getting us into the right mindset? I think really where you'll track is the individual prompts. So I think I mentioned the mid-size crossover SUV is the most reliable for long road trips. If this is one you want to get into, then you can follow the prompts. Um, and it does, it does say, um, it does have which prompt we're solving for in here in the, if you click on specific recommendations. So it does say, what are we trying to solve here? And which prompt are we trying to increase on? I know I just went through all that. I didn't look at the Q&A or chat. Are there any are there any
We're
questions?
we're good right now. One thing that I think jumps off the page to me is your Reddit and as well as the YouTube um, citations and recommendations. I think it's a really good point because I think we're in a world where the thought leaders and the influencers are sort of converging, right? It used to be about how big an audience I could build, right? Or what I could speak about. But usually the people who were thought leaders had very small audiences. The people who were influencers had huge audiences, but weren't speaking about anything. I think both are now becoming more and more important, and this
Yep.
is why the Reddit environment, even the YouTube environment, is increasingly more important. And it's regardless, it spans all different industries. I don't care if you're in the HVAC space or the climate and energy space. You have something to talk about. You don't have to talk to everyone, but you need to talk to those individuals, those audiences that care about the frequently asked questions, the problems that you're solving with your content or the discussions that you're having, and that will increase your authority as a voice and allow you to bubble up to the top of these AEO rankings.
Yeah. Something that I saw around AEO is you are losing deals you didn't know existed.
Mm,
The decision is being made without you in the room. So if we all remember inbound, the stats we used to use is like people have to review 9 to 11 pieces of content before they even reach out to sales. That's still true. They're just doing it differently. They're not going to your website to look at articles or like industry sites. They're going to Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, and they're going, um, I need a solution for XYZ. What are the current best? Give me the pros and cons of the top 10 in the space. They're doing things like that. And if you're not showing up there, you're not getting that opportunity because they're not Googling it anymore.
yep,
So this is kind of the new inbound SEO wrapped up in one future state.
yep, yep. And competitive analysis is becoming even uh, more intricate because your competitors are showing up in those spaces that you're not in. You need to be part of that conversation if you want to compete. So,
Yeah.
great point.
Okay. I'll give it back.
Really? Didn't
I
happen.
mean, you want me to finish it out?
All right.
You know I like this
So,
stuff.
Um, here are some quick wins just to get started here today. Um, we'll list five. Claim your digital footprint. I think we talked about this. You want to claim, verify your name, your address, phone number, obviously those demographics, the hours, any of your core services. If you're listing prices, let's say for instance you're a roofer, and on Google your hours are from 9 to 5, but on Angie's list they're from 10 to 7. That's not going to fly anymore. We need to make sure that everything is normalized across all of the different platforms, right? Um, you want to add FAQ schemas to your top 5 pages. Figure out, and this is where HubSpot comes into play, is find out what is the highest traffic pages. Now HubSpot, I don't know if you mentioned this, Alex, but the now HubSpot is able in the source reporting to be able to see what traffic is coming uh, from AI. So that's super, super important. So you can now see where that traffic is coming from, not just from, direct traffic or perhaps social media. Now you can see when it's coming from AI. Pick your highest traffic content pages. Remember, it's 0 click, right? So add FAQs. Add FAQs, especially to the pages that exist today. But as you go along and build new content, keep that in mind as well. HubSpot can automate this for you. Again, if you already have the Marketing Hub Pro or Enterprise tools, this is something that is already in your arsenal and you may not be using. So, our job is to help you to get the most out of your HubSpot platform and your subscription. This is a great way to do this. And then optimize for a conversational me to you language. What does that mean? It means speak like a human, right? Um, we have all, and I'm guilty, of producing and saying, "Hey, AI, generate a page for me," right? I actually left this M dash here for you. M dashes are a classic example of AI generated content, right? Um, and not to say that any AI generated content is not great, but one of the ways that you will have a higher authority in in AI rankings is if you speak from a natural language point of view, because that's what AI is looking for. It's looking for more natural language. It consumes natural language. So you want to optimize for conversational, me to you language, right? I am talking to you, not out to the world. It's to one person. And then map your top three topic clusters. Consolidate. I know there's a ton of clients that in the past were trying to rank for a million different topics, right? Let's consolidate down to the top three that your buyer cares about or your audience cares about. Identify what those three are, and how your brand, and we can devise a strategy of how your brand can actually own that space. All right. And then lastly, obviously book a session with us. I'm going to drop a link in the chat so that you will be able to book some time with me, or a member of our team, and we'll share. What we're going to do is we're going to share a free share of model audit, set your baseline AI visibility score. Um, these are the metrics that you should be tracking. We can even help you to build a dashboard so you can track them over time. And then ultimately, what we'll do is we'll deliver a personalized AEO roadmap, for your success, right? So ready to own the answer. Let's book that that strategy session. I'm going to actually drop the link in the chat so that everyone can see it. But if there are any questions, please feel free, before we log off here, to drop them into the question and answer, or you can drop them into the chat.
Juan, Aaron had a good question, and I don't actually know the exact answer. I assume it's the same, but other countries, specifically Europe, what are their AI trends instead of Google search? So I think I said it's worth digging into. So I'm gonna do it on my side. If you have any like insight there, I actually don't um, have any of that data off the top of
I
my head.
don't. That's a really good question, though. Aaron, I will actually dig into that. Happy to follow up with you offline on that. But it's a really good question. I can't find the chat. I don't know why I can't.
Um, it's okay, I got it.
All right.
I first was talking to Erin as to the hosts and panelists, realizing she is not a host or a panelist and didn't see my answer. So I had to, you know, we're all learning. We're all learning how to use technology today. Juan, what else do you have for us?
So, last but not least, we are actually going to be doing a part two to this, right? SEO is dead two, closing the loop. So, obviously we're talking about generating leads, generating traffic, turning what we're going to now, the next phase of that is turning that AI visibility into warm sales deals, right? Leads. How do we fill up your pipeline via HubSpot's prospecting agent, another AI tool? We're looking at this. So save the date, Wednesday, June 17th, same time, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We will absolutely be right back here doing this. And if there are any other questions, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see the chat. There we go. And I'm going to drop in the chat my booking link. So if anybody wants to, I encourage you to book that free session. Um, yeah, and with that, my mother actually joins. She joins all these things, right? So she's given my entire government name and says that I was born this brilliant. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Alex, I appreciate you and all of your tutelage and mentorship, and appreciate you for joining this briefing. I look forward to working with you again on
Yep.
another one in the future. And thank you everyone for your time.
Thanks, everybody. And Juan, you are brilliant. Your mom's right.